They deserve to pull within 3. That's what was going through my mind. I mean, we played, 14 or 16 minutes of bad basketball, and you can't do that in an NBA game. You're lucky to have the lead at all. We played really well early in the game, but they missed a couple of shots right around the rim, so it was probably not as good as it looked on the scoreboard. And then, we let our guard down, per se, and they played well. So that's a killer combination, right? They made shots. They hurt us in transition. They got a couple of and ones and aggressive plays to the rim. But then I was happy, Bill. You go through all these situations so many times in a year. I was really happy with how we responded.
It's more like what got into my teammates. It was knocking down shots. They made a lot of tough shots. Made me look good.
You've been seeing the last few games making a point to really find guys where they can be effective as scorers. Talk about that part of your game.
I always had it. My dad forced me to play point guard at times in high school. So it's kind of almost natural.
Celtics almost blow it, but they pull it out. They win 107-96. They are on a 3-game winning streak for the 3rd time this year. The 3 of us are going to talk about it. This is the Garden Report presented by lynda.com on CLNS Radio and Celtics Blog. Welcome back to the show, or welcome to the show. I'm Jared Weiss. We're joined again by Travis Singleton for the 2nd and final time of the year, and we miss him on that.
It might not be
Toscano, that's true. Jimmy Toscano's back from Phoenix, where he was covering the Patriots Super Bowl run.
Nice.
I would say that worked out fairly well for you there.
This is solid. It was an okay game.
It was decent.
Yeah.
It was decent. So we're going to talk about this decent win here for the Celtics. They win 107-96. Jared Sullinger continues the redemption train as he has a game-high 22 points. He also had 7 assists and 8 rebounds. 7 assists, a career high for Jared Sullinger. A guy who's probably going to be getting 7 assists a lot more in his career because that guy's a solid passer. And he really made a lot of plays tonight, Travis. You haven't been here for a lot of the stinky times with Sullinger, but you're seeing the last 2 games. He's playing a lot better. I guess he's just doing it for you.
That's the guy, right?
Yeah, that's my guy. He stepped up big time. Two games in a row where he's just actually came out and showed that he can be that leader that they need him to be. And it's been crazy because the other night we was talking about he was a little sluggish, and then all of a sudden tonight he's just out there just running gun, and he actually got announced out last. Instead of Bass this time. So I think he took that in.
It's a team MVP right there.
Hey, he's MVP. So, he was all over the place tonight. He was definitely facilitating. He was doing a lot of things that you usually don't see him do as well, when it comes to that passing game. But he was finding everybody in their spots, and he was also hitting the big shots too. So I'm impressed with his game tonight, and I hope to see it, on League Pass from now on.
Well, Jimmy, you were I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off there because before you left for Phoenix, he was playing like garbage pretty much. It was really bad. You come back, and once again, he's playing well for you too. Clearly this is the only reason. But he looked like a rejuvenated player. Clearly the benchings are having an effect on him. Now, he only played 30 minutes, and he had 22 points. The efficiency's there. How much do you think of it was the fact that he was getting covered by a small forward in Rashard Mahmoute versus him just really looking like a different player?
I think it's a little bit of both, but I think you guys are missing the main point of this whole thing is how important is extra sleep. That's what this comes down to. A guy gets a couple extra minutes of sleep, maybe an extra hour. Yeah, he's late to the game, but he's coming in rejuvenated, rested. We're seeing it in the play.
You're right.
But no, seriously. We were talking about it before this. Mbah Moute he wasn't elected to the All-Star game, for a reason. This is a smaller guy.
Was this the reason why? Yeah. He couldn't cover
this is the reason, but this is Exhibit A, I guess you could say. But I'm not taking anything away from Sullinger. Like you guys have already mentioned, he is playing a lot better. He's more active. I like to see him active down low.
Me too.
I'm not huge when he's taking those outside shots, even though sometimes they come back and they're fine. But I like to see him banging down low. I like to see him using his body, his big frame, and especially on an undersized guy like Mbah Moute.
Okay, so Sullinger looks better. The backcourt has been a bit of an issue lately. Turner was starting at point. They put Marcus Smart in there. Jimmy, they look better with Marcus Smart there. The offense isn't necessarily better overall, but the guys are playing better. Bradley is shooting lights out now. Marcus Thornton's kind of coming in as a 6-man. He's playing really well right now as their 6-man.
They're playing really energetic too, and I think it does start with your point guard and Smart, and it was just a stark contrast tonight where you're playing the Sixers, who literally did not have a point guard tonight. They started Jakar Sampson, who was a power forward in college, and he's like a forward / sometimes shooting guard today. And they signed a guy, Tim Frazier, who we'll talk about later, who's never played in the NBA before. But when you have a guy like Smart, who's learning the position every game, he's getting more and more comfortable with the spot. You had a guy like Bradley. Those guys are defensive hounds, and we saw it on offense. But the defense stood out to me tonight too, because they saw a weakness in Philadelphia in their front court, and they attacked that, and they turned that defense into offense on the other end. And Bradley's shooting much better than he was at the start of the season, where he was pretty awful.
Yeah, I mean, 36 minutes, 3 points. I was a little suspect on that. But at the end of the day, like you said, he was a ball hawk on defense. Him and Bradley, that's gonna be very special, for the years to come. And he's gonna get, like I said, last show, every game he plays somebody, he's gonna play somebody that's better than him, like a Dame or somebody like that, and he's gonna keep building experience. Tonight, Philly didn't have that person, that point guard,
right,
and he was able to actually get everybody else involved and be able to be aggressive on defense. And when you have somebody, when you have a team that's inexperienced like that, then you can attack those passing lanes and get in there and get those steals and get your teammates involved. So he's growing by the minute, and it just speaks to how Brad Stevens believes in him too. Because on the outside looking in, I'm like, man, you got this kid with so much potential, and it hasn't even been shown yet because of the mixing up of the lineups and stuff like that with Turner and everything. So I think that we're just seeing the beginning for him, and I think that we'll be able to see a lot more from him.
And it's kind of like Rondo went away, at least a younger Rondo, where he doesn't have to fill it up points-wise, because, tonight if you look, 8 rebounds, or 8 assists and 7 rebounds. Those are numbers that Rondo used to put up, with the Celtics before he was counted on more offensively.
Definitely.
And the thing is, the ball pressure. What's really important about having Smart and Bradley together is they're just so much better defensively. They're hounding the ball, and this team doesn't have a lot of offensive talent. They don't really have that effective of an offensive system right now. I probably put that more on the talent than on the coach, and that's not really a dig at Stevens. It's just because they don't really have the talent yet. But when they're playing great defense, they get into transition more. We saw they had 9 fast break points tonight on 3 attempts. I feel like the fast break points probably aren't as good just because they don't really convert nearly as much,
Well,
and they have a lot of delayed transition.
They created 11 turnovers in the first half, which was 16 points. So that's 16 points there. And they had a double-digit lead going into the third quarter. So a lot of that had to do with defense, clearly.
They had 20 points off of turnovers, which is generally a good number. 20 points out of 107, that's nearly a fifth of their points are coming off of turnovers. And then they're getting a bunch of them on their threes. You want them to be getting points off of threes and off of turnovers. So that's a good sign there.
It definitely is. I just like what I saw, these last 2 games, being home and seeing the show that they put on, for me and for everybody else. You know what I'm saying? It was good to see, because that's what Celtic basketball is. Defensively, everybody locking down and being able to create different opportunities for other players to get involved in the game. And I just hope that this, can grow to a bigger win streak. I don't want to get too excited about, Sixers and the other team they played. I forgot who they played already Wednesday.
Nuggets.
The Nuggets, yeah. But
2 of the worst teams in the league.
So, I don't want to get too excited about that. I want to see that quality win against a team of the magnitude of Atlanta or somebody like that, so I can, feel
Coming
good about
up.
it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. So.
You know you should get excited for?
What?
Part 2 of this episode. We'll be right back.
It's great. It was great. We could have, folded the tent, when they made the run. Like I say, we've been in position when we down 20, so we know it's kind of easy to play when you're down 20, and those guys never quit. So it shows, the growth that we have on this team, and we getting there.
Is that something where a few weeks ago it might be different? You guys are really progressing, you feel like?
Yeah, I would say that. A few weeks ago we probably got rattled, and probably wouldn't have came out with that game, but we starting to gel as a team now, and we starting to play for one another, and that's a great thing.